Shakur, 1971-1996. As the son of a panther, the die had been cast, so he lived every day of his life as if it was his first and his last. Tupac's lyrics of real life took us to another place, for his words of insight was his saving grace. The love of hip-hop music was his fortune and fame, but the law of the thug life kept calling his name. Because there was nowhere to hide, there was nowhere to run. So his life was like a stray bullet from the son of a gun. But diamonds in the rough don't have to be ashes in the wind, because every brother to another should be like the next of kin. And I just don't want to see another brother dead, simply because a negative vibe went straight to his head. The cause and effect of living the life of a thug is sometimes like being hooked on a drug. Tupac's lyrics of real life took us to another place, for his words of insight was his saving grace. From Skid Row to Death Row, he was born to rebel, and if there's a hip-hop heaven, I know he's giving the angels hell. But diamonds in the rough don't have to be ashes in the wind, because every brother to another should be like the next of kin, ashes in the wind. Hi, I'm Danny Queen. Welcome to another edition of Color Me Poetry. And at this time, I'd like to take this time to introduce my brand new CD, and it's simply entitled Color Me Poetry, the namesake of this particular show, and the subtitle, Soundtrack to a Dream. And you can get it at all the record stores in the area. We'll give you a little more information about it later on in the show. But at this time, I'd like to take this time to introduce my guests, or rather let them introduce themselves in the person of my good friend Eric.
Yes, hi, I'm E.Webb. I'm known as E.Webb, the author of the new book. Actually, as you said, the National Black Authors Tour bestseller, Love Letters, Death Threats, and Suicide Notes, new and selected poems and essays from the area. So new book's out, so definitely check it out.
And I'm Maurice Henderson.
Who had his crime last time he was here.
And I'm here to promote the, Eric and I, we're here to promote the anthology.
Okay.
But also, we're also in the area because we just received awards from the Mentors for Life at Bowie High School. We received the Black Achievers Award. I received it for Distinction in Dramatic Arts, and Eric received it for
Distinction in the Literary Arts.
And that's from Bowie High School?
Yeah, Bowie High School's Mentor for Life program. They basically recognize individuals of national reputation who basically have contributed to the arts, to the arts.
That's an honor,
and also have have contributed to mentoring. And all aspects of mentoring and working with young people.
How important is mentoring and working with young people in terms of passing on what you have, the knowledge and the gifts that God has given you?
Well, that's the centerpiece to who I am. You know, it's always I was always taught early on, and one of my mentors said, "Keep the chains unbroken." You know, and that's what I try to do. I've been a teacher. I've taught, at high school.
Bowie High School in particular.
Yeah, I taught English there.
My high school.
Your high school.
I graduated Bowie, and I can't think of it.
I can't. Okay.
So that has been a big part of it. I work with a lot of the young writers there at the school. I'm also a part of Big Brothers organization, Big Brothers Big Sisters. I was president of Big Brothers for Prince George's County. I'm featured in one of the commercials. Did the campaign for them, and I was on the National Capital Area Board. Mentoring has always been, I've worked with gangs in Pittsburgh, intervention, that sort of thing, and just trying to expose them to the arts and writing, and just continue to do so through my work.
And see, I think that's interesting, because I've been going around the country doing trainings and presentations and lectures on African American youth aggression. And because that they haven't been mentored, they haven't been given the idea of how to redirect their energy. And a lot of them have ghosts, and those ghosts may be coming from single-parent families, being abused, and those ghosts need to be exorcised. And they can be exorcised by having the proper mentor. Not necessarily have to be a therapist or a psychologist or a psychologist, but someone who spend quality time. And someone who can engage them in constructive leisure time, not this playtime, but constructive leisure time, and that's going to be very important when we think about mentoring.
Because so mentoring is very important. Do you do workshops or reading or writing workshops, if you will?
Well, so see, the strange thing is that Eric and I we have adapted our books. We have a touring production. It's a hip hop theater production.
Okay,
that's entitled "To Be Young, Black, Gifted with Rap," and we just opened that up in Philadelphia. We did some promotional appearances at 2 high schools in Philadelphia, and then we did a theatrical performance at the Old Academy Theater Playhouse.
How has it been received?
It's been listen, I I think that conceptually it was an idea, but in actual performance, it runs the gamut. And to have young people just look at us, and then afterwards, of course, they flooded Eric as they always do, because he's some hip hop theater icon now. So they flooded him, and see, I think that was interesting for them to have read his book, and then to see it taking form from it being poetry to it actually being adapted for the stage. Is totally different now. It's totally different.
So it's a different medium?
Yes, it is.
Why?
Because a lot of times poetry is here. Poetry is from the waist up or from the throat. But then the theatrics brings in a different element because you have to move up about the stage,
right?
And you have lighting, movement. It's totally different. It's a different genre.
And I mean, we bring in a lot of improvisation in terms of going into almost what I used to call black ritual art. I didn't coin the term. I borrowed it from Mary Baraka's essay, Pimp Art versus Nationalism, when I was with the group in Endangered Species out of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And so what we did was we taken some techniques that we used to use with Endangered Species, my old group Endangered Species, and we've incorporated them into the new play. And that's all hip-hop theater is black ritual art. And we tear down that fourth wall of American theater where there's no interaction with the public, because I speak
well, that's part of our tradition, also.
Yeah, exactly. We shot at the movies and that sort of thing.
Even in the church, it's call and respond. Even the preacher will say, talk back to me, y'all.
The signifying, Dolomite.
I was thinking about the signifying monkey thing when I watched the movie Titanic. And I was thinking about,
Shine.
Right, Shine.
Shine in the Titanic.
What was going through my mind when I was watching the movie? I'm thinking, oh, Shine.
You see it, Dolomite saying Shine, yeah.
Mr. Stroke, blank is mine.
And it's so interesting because us being writers, and so now we're talking about going from being authors and now going into being co-writers of production, and pretty soon going into the spoken word arena.
Is that a big transition, though?
Yes, it is, because we're dealing with different genres now. Okay. So we're dealing with the spoken word, which has to be fused with music. And so it's different when you have music behind it when you don't have music. So it's a different kind of adaptation that a lot of spoken word artists are not making.
Yeah. And, well, one reason I asked that, because of course about my new CD. Reading poetry and going to poetry readings is one thing, but when you becoming a recording artist, if you will, and going into the studio, it's a little different, because I had to. I love the studio, but working on the CD, I learned a lot of things about.
You have to learn about music.
Yeah.
It's a whole other craft that you have to study.
And that's one reason why I needed a producer like Brother R.
Yeah.